A farm might be the last place that you would think you need security systems, but indulge me for a few moments as we reflect on a beautiful summer evening. Imagine it's 10 p.m., you're sipping on a ice cold beverage that you earned from a hard day's work. And what do you see coming down the driveway? A pair of headlights. Is this the new gate latch you ordered from Amazon? Or perhaps just another person that thinks your farm is public property? Welcome back to the Security Bros. I'm Ken.
This is James. Look, you don't get security to protect you from the boogeyman. I mean, yeah, it helps, but it's also largely about convenience. Now, I'm no farm boy myself. That's more your thing. And your wife's thing is horses. And if there's anything we know about horse women, it's that they're really into their four-legged friends and the weather.
All the people that work on a farm or equestrians, just farm folks in general, the people that I've had the pleasure of meeting in that world, really take a lot of pride in looking after the animals that they look after. And I respect that a lot. The flip side to this is that if it's, some bad weather just pops up out of nowhere and you end up with a horrible storm in the middle of the night, well, they're going straight to the barn because they need to make sure the animals are okay, either they're brought in or, whatever, everything's taken care of. And I admire that. But,
Who has time for it?
Right. Who has time for that? Also, if my wife doesn't have to leave in the middle of the night to go check on animals, I'd prefer that. So I came up with a solution for this to make her life easier. I like to look at this in kind of a three-part solution. You have visual, informative, and control. Visuals, more like cameras. What can you see? What can you keep an eye on? Informative is things that just kind of generally tell you what's going on. So that's like temperature sensors, smoke detectors, these kinds of things. And then control is what can you actually control. So you're talking like gate openers, intercoms, that kind of thing. Right. For my wife, what made things a lot easier at our farm was putting in cameras in the barn. This solved the problem of, if when we had a horse that was sick or on some sort of routine or not continuously pooping in the right way, right? You can keep an eye on it remotely via the video without having to drive out there or, check on it every couple hours. Physically, you can, remotely log in there and see what's going on. If you want to get more creative, of course, you can put these all over the place, having them out in the pastures or, out by the gate to your farm so you can see who's coming in. That could be extremely valuable, but then at the same time, it's going to be a little more money to get those all the way out there.
So how do you get the cameras all the way out there?
Well, you can do it one of a couple ways.
Trench.
So you could trench it, put the cable underground and run a cable physically all the way to wherever the camera is going to be.
Typically, if you're going to do that, you're going to put the PVC pipe instead of a metal pipe.
That is true.
Under the ground.
They also make cable that's rated to just be buried underground.
This is true.
If you're doing a lot of digging in the area or other people that don't know the cables there are doing a lot of digging, that could be an issue because it's not protected, right? If normally you would put, like you said, a PVC pipe in the ground and then put all the cable into the pipe. So that way if somebody's digging down, they hit the pipe first and you don't have to worry about them cutting the cable. However, that raises the cost quite significantly. You're talking probably $10 a foot at least for the conduit. The other option could be a solar type situation, a solar camera, and something to do with wireless, whether that be cellular or, doing a Wi-Fi extender to your home. I like to be able to keep an eye on the animals, having those in kind of the pasture area. You can cover a large area and kind of see what's going on without having to do a lot of work of actually running all these cables everywhere. Next, we have informative type devices. So this is something like a temperature sensor. If you want to know if your barn is getting too hot for whatever animals you have in there, whatever area, they have temperature sensors. So you can have a notification if, say, it goes below freezing. That can be incredibly valuable, as well as you can set if it goes over a certain heat.
So why is that incredibly valuable?
So in a lot of farm situations, you'll have like a tack room of some sort where you store all your supplies. And a lot of times there'll be a sink of some sort in there. And these can obviously freeze in the wintertime, but you want water to continue running. So if you have a temperature sensor that's located where the plumbing is, say like underneath the sink, you can know if it's getting below a dangerous threshold to where you need to go turn on a heat lamp or do something like mitigate an issue where your pipes are going to burst. Say something goes below 32 degrees Fahrenheit, you're going to know you're going to start having issues with freezing and freezing water and, maybe blankets in the equestrian world. Maybe you need to put on blankets at a certain temperature. Most of the time, I think it has more to do with freezing, or if you're dealing with like a heat situation in the event of, say, like a fire. But those, you can also do smoke detectors or heat detectors for that as well. And these can all be linked to that same system. So everything's kind of controlled through one singular software and app.
Question, with the security cameras and the sensors, how much does that remove the necessity to go to the barn?
So somebody's going to be there basically every day. I mean, if we want to go crazy, I've had this conversation with people. I would love to tinker around and build like a fully automated system where the animal can walk up, the little collar triggers a machine to dispense the food. That's not a reality. It would be fun, but in reality, somebody's going to be there probably every day.
It hasn't actually limited the times that she has to get up in the middle of the night and go to the barn.
It has limited the times in the middle of the night situation. So typically, right, you're going to have obviously like a morning and an evening feed, but it has reduced the emergency runs to the barn. We've had other times where an animal has been dealing with something medically sick of some sort, and you can remotely check in on it and make sure it's doing fine without having to get up, put all your clothes back on and go back to the barn. This is especially valuable to me in the wintertime when it's like ice cold in the middle of the night and you don't really want to bundle up and go out there. Doing like smoke detectors, a lot of barns don't have smoke detectors. And especially not ones that are linked to an app that gives people information no matter where they are. So barn fires aren't super common, I don't think. I don't hear about them a lot, but if they do happen, it's a big problem, especially if you got a bunch of animals in there, and being able to know that something's going on, maybe so you can act or potentially save the animals that are there, could be extremely valuable. A lot of people spend a lot of money on equipment. In the same software that we use, you can have equipment alarms. So how this basically works is wherever you park your equipment, there's a device. And then when you can back up to it, pull up to it, you're in range of it. And you basically have like a contact wire that you loop around some part of it and connect to the device. And basically what this does is if it's pulled out, the wire is cut or pulled out, or the equipment is moved, right? It's basically stolen or being tried to be stolen. It sets off an alarm. So that can be really cool, especially if you have some sort of valuable equipment that you want to know that it's not being stolen. And then we have control. So control is things like gate openers, access control, intercoms, these kind of things. And I know this sounds like a lot for a farm, but hear me out. Imagine if you had some sort of gate opener or an automatic gate with some sort of intercom at the end of your farm road. Then you don't have to worry about just those random people coming down your driveway. Half the time it's somebody who just thinks it's a bunch of land, so it must be public property. I'm just allowed to go do whatever I want to do, or, oh, I want to go pet the animals. So if you have a gate on your driveway that you can remotely see who's coming to visit or remotely open for people, that could possibly prevent some of those unwanted headlights late at night.
I don't think that's drastic for any property to control access to it.
I guess maybe I meant drastic in the sense of, it's maybe a lot of investment or, too much infrastructure to bother putting on a farm.
It can be only because of the distance that you have to run wires, right? And those most likely will need to be underground.
The nice thing with some of these things is that they run off of battery power or solar with battery. A lot of them don't consume a lot of energy, like gate openers. I'm sure probably a lot of people have had experience with the gate openers that you can get from, wherever, like Tractor Supply and stuff like that. They come with kits it's just like a piston arm with a little solar panel, a little battery pack, and it's like one complete kit. And those could last for a while because it's just doing like a simple movement. You're going to run into a little more power issues, maybe with the intercom and running communication for that. But
what kind of a gate can you get with the solar panel? So the gate arm is an actual gate that
it's like a gate opener. So you can install your gate and then you bolt it to the gate and it automatically opens the gate for you. And then they come with like a little clicker. They're a couple $100 maybe for like a full kit for like a double gate.
I was surprised because most communities that have these automatic gates, they spend not a couple $100, they're spending thousands of dollars for their hardwired high voltage gate opener. So I was surprised that a solar panel has the necessary power to open a large double gate.
There is some differences. So the gates you normally would see on some residential community or apartment complex, something like that. A lot of times those gates open significantly faster. They're also controlling like an iron gate a lot of times. So they'll be like big, heavy gates and they're rolling them back or lifting them up or whatever they're doing. Right? Lifting, rolling. Right. So the ones I'm talking about,
it's a kitty gate. It's a little
yeah, they're normally more for the like your metal tubular farm gates. It's like a 10-foot by 4-foot like tubular type farm gate kind of deal, just like
so they're lighter
stuff. Yeah, lighter, a lot lighter. You can like open them with a finger if you wanted to, if installed correctly.
It's pretty economical then to grab one of those solar panel kits if you have light and it's not covered by forest.
Out of all of the cool tech that we've talked about, the most valuable one that I found for our farm was the cameras. It gave us visibility to check in on things during the day, check in on things at night, the horses, that is, and the chickens. Out of all the cool tech that we have talked about in this video, I found that the most valuable addition to our farm was the cameras.
So cameras to the farm are valuable.
They are valuable.
And if this video is valuable to you, then you just go ahead and like it so we know, as we share it, so all your friends know.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Fuck.